Rei Arthur conta, Agincourt, 1420, o triunfo do arco longo inglês. So there I was, sitting on my throne in Camelot, sipping a fine goblet of mead, when a squire runs in, waving a scroll and screaming, "My lord, the French are face-planting in the mud again." I thought, yes, must be Agincourt. Now gather around, you curious knaves and noble subscribers, because this tale is not just about swords and glory, it's about strategy, stupidity, and some very, very poor shoe choices. And if this story doesn't make you smash that like button and subscribe faster than a French knight charging uphill in armor, well, I'll eat my own crown. Let's begin. The year is 1415. England and France are at it again, because when aren't they? King Henry V, a chap with a haircut that screamed, "I mean business," decides he wants his slice of the French pie. And how does he do it? Not with massive armies or flashy cavalry, oh no. He does it with mud, archers, and patience, the deadliest trio since plague, taxes, and royal inbreeding. After a successful siege at Harfleur, Henry marches his tired, sick, and vastly outnumbered army across France, heading for Calais. The French, smelling English weakness, or perhaps just English hygiene, gather a force of nearly 30,000 men. Henry has around 6,000, most of them archers. That's right, lads with long bows, muddy boots, and bad tempers. On the morning of October 25th, St. Crispin's Day, Henry finds himself cornered in a narrow field near Agincourt. The French, bloated with confidence and wine, think it'll be an easy stomp. I mean, who brings bows to a night fight, right? Well, Henry does. And he plays it like a bard plays a lute in a tavern brawl. First, the terrain. Muddy, narrow, recently plowed farmland. Excellent for potatoes, terrible for charging horses. Henry positions his men behind a line of wooden stakes, archers on the flanks, men-at-arms in the center. And then, he waits. The French naturally don't wait. They charge, in full armor, across a mile of wet clay. Now, imagine 12,000 knights in steel trying to sprint through quicksand while arrows rain down like divine judgment. That's Agincourt. The English longbow was no joke. It could pierce armor at 200 yards and was fired by men who trained from the age of 6. These archers didn't just shoot, they unleashed chaos. The arrows were like angry bees with steel stingers. Horses bucked, men slipped, fell, and were trampled by their own allies. It was less a battle, more a very expensive, very bloody slip and slide. The French nobles, bless their gilded hearts, were so tightly packed they could barely swing a sword. Those who fell couldn't get up. Those who tried to run slipped on the corpses of their friends. Meanwhile, English archers, once their arrows ran dry, dropped their bows, grabbed knives, and jumped into the mud to finish the job. Yes, muddy peasants stabbing knights to death. A beautiful day for class equality. Henry himself was in the thick of it, fighting alongside his men, muddy as any commoner. That kind of leadership, rare. That kind of win, historic. When the mud finally settled, the English had lost a few hundred men. The French, between 6 and 10,000. Nobility wiped out, morale shattered, and England's claim to France, suddenly looking quite convincing. And that, dear listener, is how a smaller army, armed with bows and brains, humiliated the might of France. It wasn't luck, it was planning, terrain, discipline, and a lot of pointy sticks. Now tell me, do you prefer knights in shining armor or scrappy archers in soggy leather boots? Drop your thoughts in the comments like the French dropped their swords. And if you enjoy hearing old kings rant about epic victories and royal disasters, go ahead and subscribe, because there are many more tales in this crown-wearing head of mine. Hit the like button like a warhammer to a visor, and I shall return with more madness, mayhem, and historical mischief. Until next time, remember, it's not the size of the army, it's how you use the mud. King Arthur, signing off from Camelot.